Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
With each and every lifetime that we live, we find ourselves experiencing so many different things. We are brought up by our parents. We're given instructions on how to do things. We're shown how to learn how to use our own sense of discernment and discretion. How many mistakes we make along the way, who knows? It's hard to say. But in the process, we find that we often do things, and it isn't until afterwards that we are then confronted by the whys of our choosing to do what we've done. Sometimes it can be very painful. Other times it can be very exhilarating. But today's subject matter has to do with the painful part of it, and it has to do with how do you deal with the pain that you have inflicted upon yourself, that you have had others inflict upon you, and that you have likewise inflicted upon others. How do you deal with it? How long can you run away from it? And how much pain can you endure in the running? Eventually you come to a place of saying, I need to be able to release this. I need to be able to experience the freedom of this. Where we are in life right now, you look about you, if you're able to take your eyes off of yourself, and you see how many people are living unconsciously. And in their unconscious choices, how much pain they're actually causing, creating, and enduring. Well, for thousands of years, perhaps even longer, there have been those who have come to us and shown us ways to help us help ourselves. And at this time, certainly, we can benefit from helping ourselves. So hence, I bring forth the teachings and the practices of forgiveness. I forgive. It is like the practice of compassion. It does not ignore the truth of our suffering. And certainly forgiveness is not weak. As a matter of fact, forgiveness is not for the faint-hearted. Many people look at forgiveness and they want to run away. For one thing, out of fear, because in order to forgive, you have to face yourself. You have to face your past. And most of us are unwilling to do that, even though in the process, we're unwittingly continuing to relive our past over and over and over again. We've all been betrayed and hurt by others, as well as we have all betrayed and hurt others. And this is either knowingly or unknowingly involved in it. It's really inevitable in the human realm. Sometimes our betrayals are small, and sometimes they're terrible. Extending and receiving forgiveness is essential for the redemption from our past. To forgive does not mean that we condone the misdeeds of others or even ourselves. As a matter of fact, we can dedicate ourselves to make sure that they never happen again. That's part of learning and growing. But without forgiveness, the world can never be released from the sorrows of the past. Someone actually said that forgiveness means giving up all hope for a better past. How much time have you spent in hoping, wishing that the past were better, regretting that it wasn't? Well, forgiveness is a way to move on. Have you ever heard the commandment, thou shalt forgive? Well, that's because it isn't there. Perhaps if it were, it would be a stimulus to put it into practice, but the realization is it has to come from the heart in order for it to be an actuality. Forgiveness is understood as the way to end suffering and to bring dignity and harmony to our life. It's fundamentally for our own sake. It's for our own mental and emotional health. It is a way to let go of the pain we carry. There's a story about two ex-prisoners of war who meet after many, many years. When the first man asks, "Have you forgiven your captors yet?" the second man answers, "No, never." "Well then," the first man replies, "they still have you in prison." We may still be suffering terribly from the past, while those who have betrayed us, they're on vacation. We're the ones that experience the pain of hate, if that is what we are living. Without forgiveness, we continue to perpetuate the illusion that hate can heal our pain and the pain of others. In forgiveness, we let go and find relief in our heart. Forgiveness sees wisely. It willingly acknowledges what is unjust, what is harmful, what is wrong. It bravely recognizes the sufferings of the past and understands the conditions that brought them about. There is a strength to forgiveness. So sometimes, in our facing the things that have caused us to come to a place of seeing the need for forgiveness, we look and we see that those things that have been acted upon us, we have unconsciously acted out on others. And that's because we have stayed stuck in that awareness. So we can, with forgiveness, resolve to never again permit such harm to come to ourselves or another. Finding a way to extend forgiveness to ourselves is one of our most essential tasks. Just as others have been caught in suffering, so have we. If we can honestly look at our lives, we can see the sorrows and pain that have led us to our own wrongdoing. In this, we can finally extend forgiveness to ourselves. We can hold the pain that we have caused in compassion. Compassion to ourselves. Compassion when we begin to see how it is that we took such steps in pain and in suffering. Without such mercy, we will live our own life in exile. For most people, the work of forgiveness is a process. Practicing forgiveness, we may go through stages of grief, rage, sorrow, fear, and confusion. If we let ourselves feel the pain that we hold, forgiveness comes as a relief, a release for our heart in the end. Forgiveness acknowledges that no matter how much we may have suffered, We will not put another human being out of our hearts. I can look back at my own life and see this process has been a very slow and painful process for me with certain people, but that I have finally reached a place of saying genuinely to where I experienced the results that confirmed that I forgive you. And the process is continuing for me that I see I still need to forgive me. Me and things that I have still held on to, that I find as I wake up, as I look and see who I have believed myself to be and recognize it cannot be who I perpetuate anymore, otherwise I will still be living in pain. The second part of this lecture today has to do with a meditation. I'm going to encourage all of you simply to sit and listen so that you may hear and allow yourselves to, in reflection and contemplation, in being present, experience the power of forgiveness. Let yourself sit comfortably. If you want, close your eyes and let your breath be in a natural way. Let your body and mind relax. Breathing gently into the area of your heart. Let yourself feel all the barriers you have erected and the emotions that you have carried because you have not forgiven yourself, not forgiven others. Let yourself feel the pain of keeping your heart closed. Then, breathing softly, begin asking and extending forgiveness, letting the images and feelings that come up grow deeper as you are open to them. Forgiveness of others. There are many ways that I have hurt and harmed others, have betrayed or abandoned them, caused them suffering, knowingly or unknowingly, out of my pain, my fear, my anger, my confusion. Let yourself remember and visualize the ways you have hurt others. See and feel the pain you have caused out of your own fear and confusion. Feel your own sorrow and regret. Sense that finally you can release this burden and ask for forgiveness. Picture each memory that still burdens your heart. And then, to each person in your mind, repeat, I ask for your forgiveness. I ask for your forgiveness. Forgiveness for yourself. There are many ways that I have harmed and hurt myself. I have betrayed and abandoned myself many times through thought, word, deed, knowingly or unknowingly. Feel your precious body and your precious life. Let yourself see the ways you have hurt and harmed yourself. Picture them. Remember them. Feel the sorrow you have carried from this and sense that you can release these burdens. Extend forgiveness for each of them, one by one. Repeat to yourself, for the ways I have hurt myself through action or inaction, out of fear, pain, confusion. I now extend a full and heartfelt forgiveness. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Forgiveness for those who have hurt or harmed you. There are many ways that I have been harmed by others, abused or abandoned, knowingly or unknowingly, in thought, in word, in deed. Let yourself picture and remember these many ways. Feel the sorrow you have carried from this past and sense that you can release this burden of pain by extending forgiveness when your heart is ready. Now say to yourself, I remember the many ways others have hurt or harmed me, wounded me, out of fear, out of pain, out of confusion, out of anger. I have carried this pain in my heart too long. To the extent I am ready, I offer them forgiveness. To those who have caused me harm, I offer my forgiveness. I forgive you. Let yourself gently repeat these 3 directions for forgiveness until you feel a release in your heart. For some great pains, you may not feel a release, but only the burden and the anguish or anger you have held. Touch this softly. Be forgiving to yourself for not being ready to let go and move on. Forgiveness cannot be forced. It cannot be artificial. Simply continue the practice that you have experienced in this meditation. And let the words and the images work gradually in their own way. In time, you can make this forgiveness meditation a part of your past, a part of your life. Letting go of the past and opening your heart to each new moment with a wise, loving kindness that has been brought forth by your willingness to awaken, your willingness to be present, your willingness to let go through forgiveness. For more information about the Metaphysical Church of Enlightenment or the Rodin Foundation, please go to our website at www.rodin.org. If you have been inspired by the revelations shared in these podcasts, please donate to the Rodin Foundation's ongoing efforts to help others help themselves at www.rodin.org/donate.